Alright, looks like we're ready to get started. Give me a second. Okay. Just waiting for Steam to start loading it. Okay. OBS. Awete everyone, this is Regulus Pastor. Welcome back to Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. Hurry up. Anyway. Here we go. Oh. Never mind. Making sure OBS is catching this. It was about to crash. Or it was crashing and then it just worked all of a sudden. No complaints here. But anyway, where we left off last time, Keiichi had gotten ohagi, which is like a kind of mochi. It's sort of like red azuki bean paste inside a ball of rice. But one of them seems to have had a sewing needle in him. And so, thoroughly disgusted, Keiichi threw the rest against the wall, just freaked out. And now we're continuing. Oh, and we also found out a bit about the backstories of Keiichi's friends, Rena and Mion, and some of Satoko and Rika's, but not as much for them. But anyway, let's get going. I'm eager to get going. As usual, we'll start off from the previous chapter's tips. Here we go. What's a drug that makes you commit suicide? Let's cut to the chase. Is there a drug that causes someone to kill themselves? Not directly, no. That's quite a roundabout response. You mean that there's one that does it indirectly? I know it won't exactly be like this voice, but I'm gonna continue what I was doing before, which is my best impression of Bato, Richard Epcar's Bato from Ghost in the Shell. It's possible to induce a suicidal mental state, is what I mean. Oh, that's hard to say. What would a suicidal mental state be?
例えば一般的な心理学見地から言えばじゃが、心理面が内向状態から外向状態に転じるときに最も自殺が多いと言われちょる。
Never heard that before. Well, from the popular consensus in psychology, it's believed that people are most likely to attempt suicide when swinging from an introverted state to an extroverted one. Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state.
内向状態の時は自信を喪失し非常に悲観的だ。だが自殺もせん。
Individuals in the introverted state suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. Hold on, I'm just reading this again. Oh yeah.
自殺をする気力すらないからだ。
They don't have the willpower to commit suicide.
逆の状態もまた自殺をせん。
The opposite state doesn't lead to suicide either.
今度は逆に 非常に自信過剰で行動的なので、自らを順風満帆と思う。だから自殺などせんのだ。
That has an opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and making them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide.
なるほどね。どっちの状態でも自殺をしないのに、状態が入れ替わるときに自殺するんですか？
I see. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so.
内向状態には自殺願望はあるが、自殺という大仕事を遂げる気力すらもない。だが外向状態が始まると徐々に気力が充実し、体の自由が利くようになってくる。
There is a desire to commit suicide when in an introverted state, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. But when they enter an extroverted state, they gain a burst of willpower, and they can act freely again.
なるほど。つまり自殺する気力が回復するわけですね。
Sorry about that. This must be outdated psychology. I think we now know that it's from a misbalance in biochemical things like dopamine or serotonin or norepinephrine. I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide. But this is, well, when they're talking right now, yeah, they're talking right now. It's June 1983.
そういうことじゃのう。
Sciences and medicine have both come a long way in, 35 years. The events of this game would have happened 35 years ago. That's hard to think about. I've never thought about that before. That's how it goes.
だからこの時期に変な気を起こさんように処方箋を施すわけじゃな。
That's why patients are prescribed medication during that time to keep them from acting on their impulses. Yeah, I'm almost positive that doesn't happen anymore. Must be an outdated theory for sure.
では、富武氏はこの心理状態だったんですかね。
Then was Tomitake in this mental state?
一般的に自殺はちゃんとした文化的な手法で行われる。道具を使用してな。
Such people generally commit suicide by more civilized means. They prepare.
自虐行動とは全く違うぞい。
It's completely different from self-harm.
富武氏の自殺は文化的じゃないですよね。
Tomitake-san's death wasn't civilized.
ではやっぱり何かの中毒と考えるのが自然ですか。
So one would
最初に言った自殺したくなる精神状態を起こす薬ってのを教えてください。
So one would think it was caused by some foreign substance. As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide.
鎮痛薬の一部には心理を内向から外向に過剰転換させる効果があると報告されとる。
There are reports that some analgesics can cause a violent psychological transition from introverted to extroverted.
それから催眠作用を持つ薬を異常摂取した場合にも異常行動が報告されとるが、あまり一般的ではないの。
Overdoses of drugs with a hypnotic effect are also reported to cause erratic behavior, but it's not common.
その2つは検視の報告だと違うみたいですね。他の可能性は？
Neither showed up in the autopsy report. Are there any other possibilities? Sorry, I was too busy voice acting that I wasn't really absorbing the information. Okay.
あとは病気しか考えられん。
All I can think of is that it's some sort of illness.
甲状腺異常を引き起こす病気にしばしばそれに似た症状が報告されとる。だ
Often,
がそれらは概して特徴的な症状が多い。
often, diseases affecting the thyroid are reported to cause similar symptoms, but they all have many characteristic symptoms of their own.
ほ 仏は違うの。
The deceased exhibited none of them.
もっと突発的に発生するものはありませんかね。今回のケースと合うような突発性で自殺したくなるようなやつです。
I wonder, is there something that could happen more spontaneously? Something that fits this case and would cause someone to want to commit suicide all of a sudden?
他には。そうじゃな。脳障害によって精神に異常を発生する状態じゃな。
I didn't catch that. Alright. Let's see. As another possibility, there's a condition where brain injury causes psychological problems.
これは薬物中毒でも起こるが、脳の外傷や一部の病気なんかでも起こる。
Drugs can be to blame, but it can also be caused by physical trauma and some diseases.
つまり薬によらなくても異常な精神状態に陥る可能性があると。
Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state. Oh, sorry. Wrong voice. I have to do that again. Crap. It really tickled my throat to do that too. Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state.
仏は犯人に囲まれて命に危険が迫っとったんじゃろ。
The deceased was surrounded after being chased, and his life was in danger, right?
極度の緊張が続いて、それに分泌異常が重なって、さらに打ちどころが悪くて脳に障害が起こり、自虐行動に走った。可能性もあるかもしれんの。
All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry. He could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility.
もうちょっと省略して言ってくれませんかね。
Could you explain it to me in simpler terms?
つまり乱闘中に豆腐の角に頭ぶつけて、それで異常が発生したと言っとるんだ。
Basically, he knocked his noggin in the brawl, and that made him go haywire.
じゃあ星には殺意はなかったってことですかね。
Guess this means the assailants didn't have any attempt to kill.
ちょいと小銭を巻き上げようと思ったら、たまたま殴りどころが悪かったと。
They smacked him hoping to nick some change, and just happened to hit a bad place. The two plump men laughed hoarsely.
なんてわけはありませんね。
But of course, it's not like that.
いかにも。
Undoubtedly.
薬物の常用にせよ、精神的なものにせよ、仏の身元が鍵を握っとるぞい。そっちはどうなっとるんじゃ。
Whether it was habitual drug use or something mental, the deceased background holds the key. How's your investigation going?
あら、こんな時間。そろそろ戻らないとクマちゃん怒っちゃいますね。
Oh my goodness, look at the time! I need to get back soon or Kima-chan will get angry with me.
おう、頑張れよ。
Yeah, good luck.
いいお年をの。
Best wishes. Oh, that's kind of an odd translation. Nobody really even says that in English. Like, it's a phrase that we regard as relatively standard, but no one really says it. I don't know. I'd rather say something like, hope you find something. It's a little more of a pragmatic translation, and it's a little imprecise as to its literalness, but who cares?
いいお年を。
Yeah, you too. Alright. Thread.
おや、今の皆さんは確
Huh? Those guys just now.
議員バッジが2人いたっす
They had national diet badges.
じゃあ、県議と市議の園崎だ。
Then it's prefectural assembly members Sonozaki and city councilor Sonozaki.
ね。面白いっすね。親戚同士で県議と市議やってんすか。
That's interesting. The prefectural assembly member and city councilor are related.
これがずるいんですよ。お互いの名前で慈善運動バンバン。
It's dirty is what it is. Shouting out each other's name during elections.
片方の選挙中にはもう片方が別に講演会を開いて二重に選挙運動やってんですよ。
While one is up for election, the other one holds an assembly and they double up their campaign activities.
堂々と。
Blatantly.
よくわかんないんすけど、それって公選法違反じゃないんすか？
I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election?
慈善運動にならない限り政治活動は無制限ですからね。
As long as they have no...
ちゃん、そんなんじゃ選対本部好きになった時大変ですよ。
As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, the second investigation division is going to be pretty tough for you.
公選法くらいは勉強してください。
You should at least brush up on election laws.
俺、知能犯化は無理っす。バカですから。
I'm not cut out to handle intellectual crime. 'Cause I'm dumb. There was prefectural assembly members Sonozaki and city councilor Sonozaki. Also, the mayor of Hinamizawa. So they're all influenced by the Sonozaki family. What crap.
お見送りしてんのは副所長とうちの課長っすね。
Looks like they were seen off by the deputy chief and the department chief. It came to me. That night, when the department chief invited me along to get some oden, I thought that was it.
大石さんは友達多いから聞いてるかもしれないけど、聞いてるかな。
You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something. Have you?
いえ、何も。
Nope, nothing.
お母さん、ガモにはんぺん頼みます。課長のとこに議員の怒鳴り込みがあったんだよ。
Goodness. Ma'am, I'll take a tofu fritter and fish cake. The counselor stormed in on the police chief in a rage.
あれがそうなんですよ。お
Oh,
母さん、私にもう一杯ください。
oh my, is that so? Ma'am, I'll take another bowl. Prefectural assembly member Sonozaki and city councilor Sonozaki were both intimidated. A snot-nosed career police chief couldn't handle being yelled at by them. They're like Yakuza.
南沢事件の捜査の仕方で君を指名して陳情してきたよ。
A petition with your name came up regarding how the investigation of the Hinamizawa incident is being handled.
ありゃ、私はてはて。
Goodness me. I'm not the faintest.
おぼけるなよ。例の南沢の過去の事件。
No need to play dumb. You're reopening the past cases regarding Hinamizawa.
蒸し返してるだろ。
Aren't you?
私、富武殺しで手一杯でそんな余裕ないですよ。ね。
I've already got my hands full with Tomitake's death.
本当に？
Really?
本当にそうならいいんだけどさ。
I hope so for your sake. There was a period of silence. While we were silent, we made headway on our food and drink.
いやー、 ごちそうになっちゃいました。今月は負けっぱなしだったんで財布つらかったんですよ。
That was quite the feast. This month has been a bunch of losses for me, so my wallet was feeling the pinch.
助かりました。
Much appreciated.
いや、いいよ。また馬教えてよ。
It's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. What does this have to do with horses?
大井さんと同じ馬を買うから。
I'll bet on the same one as you. Oh, okay. It's horse racing idiom. Hold on. Sorry, heck. The tips are tearing up my throat tonight. Oh. I'll bet on the same one as you. I think I already read that.
最近はダメです。
I haven't been doing well there lately.
馬の声がさっぱりですから。
I haven't been able to read the horses at all. Taxi! I'm going by train. The department chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but it would be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off and look like his legs were already jelly. Pushing him into the cab, I gave the driver the department chief's address.
ではではまた明日。良いお年を。
Well, see you again tomorrow. Best wishes.
There's that phrase again.
大井さん、
Oi-san!
はいはい。
Yeah, yeah.
過去の事件は全部個別に終わってる。縦に並べるのはやめるんだよ。
The past incidents have all been closed. Stop lumping them all together.
村の連中は半ば本気でタタリを信じてるんだから。
Those villagers have to believe it's really a curse.
私だってタタリなんか信じちゃいませんよ。
Well, I'm not convinced.
大石さんは来年で退職じゃないですか。
You're going to be retiring next year, aren't you?
退職金でローン返してお母さんと北海道に引っ越すんじゃなかったっけ？
Weren't you going to pay off your mortgage with your severance pay and move up to Hokkaido with your mom?
ばあ様がどうしても生まれの北海道に帰りたいって泣くんですよ。最後のご奉公なんです。
Mother pines to return to her birthplace. It's the least I can do.
退職金はまあ歓楽街で楽しむことにします。
And the severance? Well, I'll enjoy it at the entertainment district.
Entertainment district. I wonder if the phrase entertainment district still means the same thing as it used to.
な
Well, for him it probably means a mahjong parlor and whatnot.
所長は退職時特別昇給を見直すかもってさ。
The chief said he may have to reconsider issuing your special retirement salary raise.
A public servant's severance payment is calculated based on their monthly salary when they retire. So, a special promotion of 2 pay grades is given before retirement. This tops up the employee's severance payment. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not exactly a commendable custom. Incidentally, the difference that 2 pay grades makes to the payout is quite significant.
さすがインテリの若所長は言い出すことが模範的です。でもまあ
I'd expect no less of our egghead chief. Quite the model-veiled threat. But, well...
私たちの給料が血税で支払われてることを思えばまあ時代の流れですかね。
Considering how our pay comes from the public's hard-earned taxes, it's the way of the times, I suppose. It certainly wasn't a laughing matter, but I'll laugh through it anyway.
僕も模範的なこととは思わないよ。でもまあ、大石さんはそれだけの退職金をもらってもおかしくない活躍をしてきたからさ。
I don't think it's such a model response. But given how hard you'd worked, it's not at all odd for you to take home such a good package.
僕としてはぜひもらってほしいんだよ。
Personally, I'd like you to get it.
もらえるもんならそりゃ欲しいですけどね。
If I can get it, well, of course I'd want it.
もらえるよ。大石さんが大人なら。
You'll get it. As long as you're an adult about this.
運転手さん、引き止めてすみませんね。お願いします。
Sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much. I closed the door roughly, interrupting the department chief's conversation a bit rudely. It looked like he still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually, and soon disappeared among the sea of lights.
参ったな。ローン返済できるかな。
Oh man. I wonder if I'll be able to repay that loan.
Though Oishi-san seems like he could be a bit of a dirty cop, or at least a very unctuous one, and I distrust the heck out of unctuous people, by the way. Despite that fact, I hope for his sake that he can pay off the loan. I think everybody deserves to be able to clear themselves of long-standing debts. Okay. Here. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of my door to my room. Oh. Why do I keep messing stuff up right now? Let's try it again! The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... Sleep paralysis? What's going on? Is something gonna happen? I think it's waiting for me to click something. I'm not destroying my throat for that. Not after these tips. No way, Jose. Forget it, I'm doing it anyway. I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door.
Nani, Keiichi?
What are you doing, Keiichi?
どうしたの?
What's the matter?
ごめん。
Sorry.
寝ぼけてた。
I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance fell off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well.
どうケイチ
Well, Keiichi,
体の調子はどう
how are you feeling?
学校行けそう
Can you make it to school? I felt far from well enough. No, I wasn't mentally fit to go. I was still plagued with a terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it had pierced my tongue? There was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this.
ちゃんと病院は行った
Did you make it to the hospital?
お薬は飲んだの
Did you take your medicine?
まあ一応
Keiichi, you lazy beast. Yeah, kinda. Something about my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill.
一度生活のリズムを崩すとなかなか戻らないんだから
It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off.
それ起きて起きて
Come on, get on up!
病は気からって言うのよ
They say wellness is a state of mind. I'd heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance. But it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone.
ささ顔洗ってらっしゃい
Come on, go wash your face.
ご飯はもうできてるわよ
Breakfast is already ready.
もうレナちゃんが来るまであんまり時間がないわよ
There isn't much time before Rena-chan comes and gets you. Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day.
そうそう今の壁にぼたもちを投げつけたのはケイチ
By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi?
ダメよあんなことしちゃ
You shouldn't do something like that.
お父さん怒ってたわよ
Your father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Myung said as she left yesterday. I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow. Came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. If I acted differently, someone like Ois-san, for example, might end up noticing that something is up. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything differently from the norm, in effect, it would end up communicating something to those who were undesirable. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was gonna be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal.
そんな虫のいい話あるわけ
But there's no way such a selfish thing could... Sorry, I'd already forgotten what I read. Experienced until yesterday a little. Okay. Alright. I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea that I just rejected. Mule was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rule of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mule had given me another chance. She was saying, if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven.
Keiichi!
Keiichi!
ご飯冷めちゃうわよ。
Your food is getting cold!
急いで降りてらっしゃい。
Hurry up and get down here!
早くしないとレナちゃんが来ちゃうわよ。
Elena will be here if you don't hurry!
あ、今行くよ。
So she won't be there if he doesn't hurry? I'm coming! I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked up my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signaled that Rena had arrived. Mom hurried me along.
ほら、レナちゃん来ちゃったわよ。
Oh, come on! Rena-chan's already here!
急いで急いで。
Hurry, hurry! My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side. Was it the Rena I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual.
おはよ
Morning! An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway.
う。ケイチ君、遅かったから来てみたけど、今日はどうかな？I came since Keiichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today, I wonder?
The manner in which Rena was concerned was, without the doubt, the Rena I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death, and the terminal illness and suicide, the fatal beatings, and the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Rena and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about all of it. Forget about the mochi too. Forget. Rena once again asked to make sure.
学校行けそう？ Can you make it to school?
大丈夫だよ。
Yeah, I'm fine.
よかった。イェーイ！じゃあ行こう。みーちゃん待ってるよ。Let's go! みーちゃん 's waiting.
Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. Had me on edge there as it faded out,
なの
unexpectedly.
にさとこちゃんね、絶対にできるって意地になっちゃって。But you see, Satoko-chan was so insistent she could do it.
As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual.
それで？
Huh? Then...
さとこちゃん不吉祥だから何度やってもできないの。はかいかったんだよ。Satoko-chan is clumsy, so she failed no matter how many times she tried. She was so cute.
Everything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied every so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us.
あれケイチちゃんにレナちゃん。
今日はちょっと遅いんじゃないの？
Oh my! Keiichi-chan, Rena-chan, aren't you two a bit late today?
ミオンちゃん、先に行くって言ってたわよ。
Mion-chan said she was going on ahead!
ああ、みーちゃん怒ってるかな。Uh-oh, did Mi-chan look mad, I wonder? 怒ってるかな。I wonder? 早く行こう、ケイチ君。We need to hurry up, Keiichi-kun!
After greeting our neighbor with a smile, Rena turned back to me and poked her tongue out. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile.
あ、ケイチ君笑った。あ、ケイチ君 smiled.
なんだよ。
What? Rena stopped and stared at me.
ケイチ君、今朝もなんか元気なかったから、まだ風邪が治らないのかなって思ってたけど、大丈夫みたいだね。だね。I was thinking that you still hadn't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi-kun. But now you seem fine. Fine!
With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, my Barakeiichi. How can you still doubt Rena after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today, and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing that I'd wish for. I would want what had happened in the past few days, more specifically from the night of Watanagashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for these past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling.
で、ケイチ君。そう、ケイチ君。昨日のおはぎ、ちゃんと食べてくれた？ Those mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all?
That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual.
Those mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all?
Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She's probably trying to convey that.
Keiichi-kun? Keiichi-kun?
I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, my Barakeiichi. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry, and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seemed that there was as long of a pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious! However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well.
そうなんだ。I see. で、全部食べたのかな？かな？ So, did you eat all of them? I wonder. I wonder.
My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here.
いや、全部は食べきれなかったからさ。
Nah, I couldn't finish all of them.
まだ残ってるんだよ。
There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits. But that's how I played it.
あれれどれがレナが作ったのか当てる宿題はどうなっちゃったのかな
What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Lena made?
あの宿題って今日までだったっけ？
That homework! Was it due today?
今日までなんだよ。
Yeah, it's due today.
兄ちゃん怒るよ。きっと罰ゲームだね。
Me-chan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you.
See, this foreshadowing wasn't in the anime. They just waited until the penalty game. Sorry about that. We both laughed at each other again. Sorry, I just... I really need to clear my throat. Alright. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just a usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Rana. What? I recall that unexpected piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. Oi-san told me, didn't he?
実は調べてみたら、竜宮さんは引っ越しの少し前に学校で謹慎処分を受けているんですよ。
Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school.
なんでも学校中のガラスを割って回ったんだとか。
Oh, who hosted? Hey, Yoshio. Thank you for the host. How are you doing tonight?
It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows.
Rena had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. Man, that's a perfect shot right there. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school breaking the windows with a bat. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another. Paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found them most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Elena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant piercing sound of shattered glass, the crunching noise as Elena treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. Elena's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wondered what they did as Elena came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room to call for the teachers? Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rena to continue. It would be cruel to blame anyone for looking the other way. No, They weren't simply looking the other way. They knew it was the only way they could protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims, meaning I would be the next window. Rena, staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Rena struck me with a bat over and over again like I was one of those windows. It's not always clear when it wants me to click to the next page. Sometimes when it's just that moving background there, I don't know if I should be waiting for something to happen, because sometimes that's the approach that Doki Doki Literature Club took, for example. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. He's really getting involved in these imaginings. Zealously, she hits me again and again. Oh, sorry. Okay. There's sort of half yawn, half hiccup there. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent. It was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make as pleasant a sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They'd gain nothing from saving a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually, there would be a faint sound, similar to when you crack open a walnut and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in her anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled what Oi-san told me.
でですね、そのカウンセリングをした医師のカルテに、レナさんの会話内容が記載されているんですがね。
And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all of the conversations he had had with Rena-san.
その中に出てくるんですよ。
It shows up.
結構。
And quite a bit at that.
何がです？
What does?
出てくるんですよ。
She mentioned...
She mentioned...
親代様って単語が。
The word 親代様.
Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rena was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over.
Oyashiro-sama.
親代様っていう幽霊みたいなものがですね、夜な夜な自宅にやってくるっていうんですよ。
It seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in her house every night.
枕元に立って自分を見下ろすんだって。
Standing over her pillow, looking down at her.
That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture. But it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Rena did, was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not of some curse. Except, if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe that those who acted the kindness to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro's curse. In the aftermath, Urena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Urena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Urena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice? Accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists? Or that Urena and the rest of them were deeply involved in a string of mysterious deaths? I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that was no longer possible. I had received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of whether my opponent were a human or a curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in. For no good reason at all.
Keiichi-kun?
ケイチ君
さっきから変な顔してる。
You've been making a really weird face.
See, every time Cage starts to get his mind all wrapped up in these worries and kind of letting his mind blow things out of proportion, it says he's been making a really weird face. Sometimes it hits like it's a face of rage. So bear in mind, Cage is not exactly the sanest of mind right now. Just want to throw that out there.
なんでだろうだろう。
Why? I wonder.
Inhaling sharply upon hearing Lena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I had realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exercised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Lena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. Okay. As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. Jeez.
鶴休みのケイチさんにはお似合いですことよ。
How befitting for the truant Kate sound.
This game's Laura, by the way. Laura from Silent Hill 2 is Satoko from Higurashi. They're one and the same.
ケイチもレナもおはようございますです。
Good morning to both of you, Kate and Lena.
おはよう、さとこちゃんにリカちゃん。
Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan.
Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently.
何なんですの？
She's usually offended when Keiichi flicks her forehead in return. But now, she's like, What? What the heck? Why aren't you hurting me?
What is this?
張り合いがありませんわ。
How discouraging indeed.
ケイチ、まだ本調子じゃないみたいです。
Kate doesn't seem back to his usual self yet.
うん。
Yeah,
だから、今日は加減してあげて。ね。
take it easy on him for today, okay?
Suddenly there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit.
よっ、ケイちゃん。しっかり休んできた？
Hey, Kate-chan, did you get enough rest?
It was Mion. My mind was full with the stuff about Rena, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember, Kate, that hawkish gaze from yesterday.
ああ、おはよう。
Yeah, morning.
なんだなんだ。ずいぶんと覇気のない挨拶じゃん。
What's with that unenergetic greeting?
差し入れのおはぎ、 ちゃんと食べてくれなかったの？
Did you eat the mochi I brought you? I'm like this because I ate them. Those words were itching to be blurted out.
やっぱ食欲がなくてさ。
I really just didn't have the appetite.
いくつかは食べたけど、だいぶ残しちゃったんだ。
I ate a few, but quite a lot were left over.
あれ？じゃあ宿題は？
Huh? What about the homework?
どれがレナの手作りかってのの回答は？
Do you have an answer for which one was Rena's?
ケイチ君宿題忘れなんだって。
Basically, last episode, they appeared at his doorstep while he called off sick from school. He wasn't actually sick, he was just terrified because he thinks they're sending him veiled threats. And so they gave him like 5 bits of oh, thank you, Yoshua. I didn't see that. Thanks for the compliment. But they gave him 5 balls of ohage ohagi, sorry. His homework for their extracurricular club was he was supposed to determine which one of them Rena made and which one of them Myung's grandmother made. Or really 4 of them I think were implied to be how many Myung's grandmother made. So he only had to guess which one was Rena's. But he found one and apparently had a sewing needle in it. So he's interpreting that as like a veiled death threat. So that's what this is about.
Kate-kun said he forgot his homework.
ありゃー。じゃあ仕方ないね。罰ゲーム。
Sheesh. Then we can't help it. Time for your penalty.
Flashing a lurid smile, Myung returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversations up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Maebara Keiichi, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began.
Higurashi no Naku Koro ni.
Alright. These transitions are taking forever. This free study period was a convenient time to consider where I stood. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget was how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with them. After interacting with Oishi-san multiple times, I could see it as I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No, calling it a warning was just my habit of understating things. They probably had no meaning beyond stunning my progress and buying themselves some time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me, they were just biding their time. So, with erasing, there have been a string of one person dying and one person disappearing every year for the past 5 years during the time of the local festival. And first it started with people who could have been construed as enemies of the town because the town was going to have been flooded from this dam construction project, but it got opposed, and some of the deaths and disappearances had to do with stopping the dam construction. And then it grew from just being enemies of the town to even being just outsiders. So that's what the erasing part is referring to. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. The chilling sensation of my desk made me recall Hojo Satoshi, the boy who was using this seat until last year when he disappeared. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have, and was erased? Darn! I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never. We'll find more out about Hojo Satoshi in later arcs. It kind of comes together piece by piece. But were they really trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I thought I had to cover for them. Even having witnessed all of their suspicious behavior, a morning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No, that's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends? Covering for them? My life was in danger. Or was it... Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, this point was something that should have been deliberated a long time ago. But really, Lorena and the rest of them, were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me with these unresolvable trains of thought. Are you an idiot, Maibara Keiichi? The answer should be obvious. But maybe. That sewing needle might have just been an accident, right? How could you screw up and drop a sewing needle on a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt could only go so far. Both Lorena and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously, but maybe it was all some sort of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? It wasn't just suspicious. It was outright ludicrous, right? Lorena just corrected me for lying, and Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. Lorena was standing outside my door eavesdropping for a solid hour? She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. For a whole hour outside your room? And is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? You heard from Oi-san, didn't you? About what Lorena did at her former school. But at the hospital, she said it was Oyashiro-sama's fault. She...
いい加減にしろよ、前原圭一。お前、命を狙われてるって自覚あるのかよ。
Cut it out, Maibara Keiichi! Don't you realize they're out to kill you? Yeah! I inadvertently blurted out those words aloud. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth, even though I could feel the murderous intent from Lorena and the others. Part of me was still somewhere trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. My mind's jumping ahead, and I keep having to switch words around to try to keep it fluent. But, my eyes are jumping ahead and my tongue's just twisting. I knew that. But I was just your average student. A man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends, who I'd been happily laughing together with up until last Sunday, now intended to kill me? Right? You're too soft, Keiichi! This time I remembered to keep my voice down so only I could hear it. There was one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Lorena and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Oishi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signaling the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would have probably happily jumped into that circle.
あらあら、ケイチさん。
My, Kate-san!
帰り支度とはあんまりですことよ。
How rude of you to even think about leaving!
The way Satoko spoke was so typical and familiar, it almost physically hurt.
あれ？ケイチ君、今日は都合悪いのかな？
Huh? Kate-kun, is today not a good day, I wonder?
今日こそ二人で大勝利。はあ。
And we were going to win big together. Oh.
seeing Lena's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Looking forward to today. Hey, Keiichi! Maybe Oi-san was just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me. Oh, hold on. I get a good slap there. I'm a method actor, I had to do it. Trying to expunge such weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face.
Keiichi-kun?
Keiichi-kun?
Yeah. Was Rena really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was one or not, I just wanted someone to say it was. Yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive?
大丈夫？頭痛いの？
Are you alright? Does your head hurt?
Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Elena.
顔色悪いよ。
You're pale.
一人で帰れる？
Can you make it home by yourself?
送ってった方がいいかな？
Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder. I wonder.
いや、いい。ごめん。
No, it's okay. Sorry.
一人で帰れる。
I can get home by myself.
部活はみんなでやってくれよ。
Just have the meeting without me. Upon hearing that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting, Mion pouted unhappily.
ケイちゃんがリベンジ熱望してたってんで、今日はせっかくこの間の推理ゲームにしたってのにな。
Since Kei-chan was so bent on a revenge match, we were even gonna play that deduction game from before, too.
ケイイチさんにはリターンマッチに臨む熱いハートはありませんですの？
Keiichi-san doesn't have the burning desire for a rematch?
情けないですわね。
How pathetic!
Basically, they're trying to give him a pep talk. Kind of veiled one, but... See, they are being good friends. I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head.
ケイイチ、具合悪そうです。
Keiichi doesn't seem to be well.
かわいそうですよ。
How very, very unfortunate.
It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder.
ごめんな。
Sorry,
みんな。
everybody.
じゃ。
See you. That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. That's good audio editing right there. I really have to say that. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. I managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind. Took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Forward. Harden that heart. My Barakeiichi. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them, because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented my naivete, while another part lamented the fact that I had lost something important by lamenting over it in the first place. It felt like my personality was being ripped in two along with my body. If this is what Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, then it was just too harsh. Hey, Oyashiro-sama! I was wrong for not believing in your curse. But I believed in it now. Completely. Your curse does exist. So, seriously, give me a break. I beg you. Come on. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in his household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. It's kind of like me. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, it either meant he had just reached a good point to take a break or he was in a slump.
とにかく作家のモチベーションってものを理解してないんだよ、彼は。
So yeah, he just doesn't understand the motivation creators have.
タイアップの話だって口約束なんでしょ？
Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it?
そんなに反りが合わないならきっぱりお断りしたら？
So, if it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it?
助け合いの世界だからお互い様だとは思うんだけど、これじゃ仕事にな。
I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching, but when it gets in the way of business, I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That of course made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought processes I had going all day long. Friends close to me. No, they used to be friends. But I could no longer trust them. Right now I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted. People I could depend on when push came to shove. There was something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. I put down my chopsticks and looked over at my parents, who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person from Hinamizawa I could trust 100%. That meant the only people I could trust were my parents. But if I told them everything that happened up till now, would they understand? Rena, for example. That neighborly Rena, who was so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day and sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained it, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. There's where Keiichi's also going wrong. He's losing trust in the people around him. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me off to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No, by informing them of these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Maibara family to have an accident or to just vanish into thin air is easily possible in Hinamizawa. Most important here was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know, my parents might not fall victim. That was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. Which means that this house would be a safe haven as long as my parents were in. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. It was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents? No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. Then the only person who could be my ally would be Oishi-san. Him and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care so much about my safety, but he was without a doubt passionate about solving this case. It was a bit frustrating. Oishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now to get out of it, I had to rely on him. Meaning, it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves as bait. Then, when the fish started gathering around, Oishi-san would pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So then, what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough and tag out to Oishi-san. No question it was going to be hard. The timing to bring Oishi-san in would be difficult. He was in the city, not in Hinamizawa. So if I found him in my moment of need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I needed to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, if we set up a rendezvous point for dire situations or something, I just have to hide out there until Oi-san arrived.
よし。少し見えてきたぞ。
Okay, I can almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by boogeymen, but now I knew which way to go. I never would have imagined this would be so reassuring. Oh yeah, it would probably be best if I had a concealed weapon for when things would get rough. Typically that would call for a switchblade, but that wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. I could be confident with that when push came to shove. If I pretended I was practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to deter them. Also, one more thing. Insurance. It could be something like a note or a memo. I could write down everything that's happened as a sort of journal. In case I suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind. With my journal in his possession, Oi-san should be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. These transitions take a while. I tore out a piece of paper from a notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. In the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead. So I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Maibara Keiichi, am in fear for my life. It made me laugh nervously. It was a line that showed up often in detective stories. I never even dreamed that I would be in the type of situation where I'd write it myself. I do not know why they are after my life. Rena and the others were suspicious, but I had no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed wryly at myself for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Would the police be able to get the hint from reading this enigmatic passage? I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for the most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here I laughed nervously. It was too simple. So I wrote down just one more line I thought of. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much? I probably shouldn't write more than that. If I wrote any more, then it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person who had written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at this point. It's odd, because Keiichi doesn't seem to be very sound of mind right now, but he seems to know what to say to make it seem that way. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was a chance that they would uncover it instead. On the other hand, if it was in too obscure of a location, then there was a risk of nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with scotch tape. After that, I put the clock back to its normal position. Yeah. Didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I need to set it up such that, if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied and I made my way downstairs. My parents were still talking about work. It didn't look like it was going to end anytime soon, so I cut in.
話中ごめん。
Sorry to interrupt.
ちょっと聞いてもらっていいかな。
I have something I want to talk to you about. I've never started off a conversation like that before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me.
どうしたの、ケイイチ?
What is it, Keiichi?
お願いがあるんだけど、聞いてほしいんだ。
I have a favor to ask of you. Please listen.
もしもだよ。
Just in case, yeah?
ケイイチ、急ぎの話じゃなきゃ後にしなさい。
Keiichi, if it's not urgent, can we do this later?
お父さんとお母さんはちょっと今、急ぎの話をしてるんだ。
Right now, Mommy and Daddy have something urgent they're talking about. It's kind of a patronizing way to put it, to Keiichi. I didn't think their talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I stated my request.
もしもだよ。
Just in case, okay?
俺が死んだらさ。
If I die, with my parents' eyes went as wide as saucers.
死んだらさ、
If I die,
俺の部屋にある時計、あれを棺に入れてほしいんだ。
I want you to put the clock on my wall in my coffin. If they did that, then they'd probably find it. My memoir. Both my parents remained wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them.
あの時計、工作の授業で作ったお気に入りなんだ。
I made that clock in shop class, and I really like it.
頼むよ。
So, please. That would be, Oh wait, unless he did actually make the clock in shop class back in this city. But it seems like a flimsy excuse if, you know, the parents actually bought the clock with the rest of the furniture. So it's kind of awkward how he put it.
どうしたの？
What's the matter?
ケイチ、
Keiichi,
何かあったの？
did something happen?
Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course, this was the normal response for when someone's son suddenly talked about a subject like this. I felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. With the awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to go back up to my room.
俺さ、明日は早くに学校に行きたいから、もう寝るよ。
I want to get to school early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed.
おやすみ。
Good night. Saying only that, I left the living room. I needed to get to school early tomorrow and secure that bat. I should make today the last day I went to school with Rena. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It wasn't something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anybody. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing. Really? It waited for me to click just to load a scene transition? How long could I have been sitting there if I didn't click anything? It's a bit odd.
You have received new tips. Not feeling so hot.
Alright, so we're gonna end it here. Thank you again, Yoshio, for the host. Got an achievement, Chasing Shadows.
Pursue the truth behind the crimes.
Alright, so save, and there we go. It's weird that I can only close this game from Task Manager. Alright, but I will be back on next week. Monday and Thursdays I still do more Higurashi, and Tuesday I'll be returning to The Last of Us. So I'm looking forward to it, I guess. But in any case, let the music load so I can do my spiel. Thank you all so much for watching, everyone, and as always, if you like what you see, please feel free to click like, comment, follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Any feedback you can give me at all will help me tailor my future content towards your interests. I'm Murairu Pastor, and until next time, wale!